Speaking with Brian Miller, Assemblyman, and Senator Joe Griffo. The news, of course, that more money in the budget for schools, and we won't call it a bailout, but certainly it's a one-time boost that is really going to help. About $800,000 is going to help the district of New Hartford, which is going to. It's been pretty tense over there. So you guys have. What is the song? Here I Am to Save the Day.
That's Mighty Mouse, right?
Mighty Mouse.
Here I come to save.
Here I come to save the day.
Is it supposed to be a compliment, or is it a satire here?
I believe it's a compliment. I believe there's a compliment here.
Not sure.
Parody Song Thursday.
There you go. I like it.
How about?
Remember, we didn't say this first. Someone else did.
Anthony Brindisi did first. Yes. How about? Although, did you hear Mark Butler talking about someone snapped a photo of him, a member in our community, snapped a photo of him in that area where you were. Explain what happens there. I mean, was he really, because they used it in a commercial against him, was he sleeping on the floor?
No.
Well, I wasn't there. You know, there's an area in the assembly, with the way I understand it, being a new member, it's kind of off limits to the press.
The press, so you can go in and you can take a nap.
But I don't know if he was napping or not, but you're up 48 hours. You're trying to do your best. You know, it's there. People are debating. Maybe he took a nap. Maybe
pretty uncool thing to do, I would say. We've narrowed it down to a female who might be a legislator here in our area.
Yeah, those type of things are unfortunate. Even if you do that just because you're colleagues and you kind of want to bust them on somebody, but to use anything against someone,
give it to his opponent is terrible.
It's unfortunate and unnecessary, really, because as Brian just indicated, I mean, you're up 48 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I've seen all types of members that are, except the leaders, and unfortunately, when you're up at the podium, I don't get that opportunity either. And I'm standing the whole time, which is even more challenging sometimes when you're going like 12, 14 hours straight into a session. So, they don't do it on the floor. They're going into a lounge area. Tell you a funny story that happened this time.
Which, by the way, as Brian says, you've been up for 12, 14, 24 hours.
Exactly. And I'll tell you and I don't blame the press either, because everybody's trying to get that upper hand. I walked into our conference the other day, and I see a young man there with a backpack sitting in a chair. And sometimes people will bring family members, so I'm wondering, is this somebody's son? And I turned to Senator DeFrancisco, who's the floor leader, and he's the candidate for governor, one of the candidates on the Republican side, said, whose son is this? He said, I don't know. So he went over to him in typical Senator DeFran fashion. He said, hey, who do you belong to? He's
a gruff guy,
He
right?
can be very direct, right? You know, it turned out to be a member of the press. He had snuck into the conference room, which is off limits to the press because it's members only.
Oh, wow.
And he just sat there and thought if nobody found him. And he said, well, my editor said I could come in here. He goes, what do you mean you can come in here? This is for members only.
Yeah.
But
listen, without
no, he did not.
Without tiptoeing through the tulips, it was Claudia Tenney that did this to Mark Butler. And it's to leak that to an opponent for an incumbent, I'm sorry, is just, you be the judge. I'm not saying you two, but I don't want to drag you guys into it. But, oh, my God. I can't believe it. Anyway, Utica College. This will be an awkward transition, but this is something positive here.
Here's another one out of the bag, huh? Look,
I'm hearing something was done for UC as well.
Last year, as you know, Utica College.
Did they call this the Griffo bill?
Originally, the Griffo amendment, because Utica College did a phenomenal thing, focusing on college affordability. They lowered tuition over 19%.
Yeah.
And then last year, when the governor created the Excelsior program for public universities and looking at college affordability,
I remember UC coming out and saying, "What about us?"
Well, he told all the privates that if you want to continue to receive state aid, you need to keep tuition at a certain level. So Utica College needed to continue to receive that money. So they basically were in a double whammy now. They had lowered tuition and room and board and everything by 19%. They did the right thing across the entire state. No one else did that. And yet now they were going to be punished for doing that because they weren't going to be able to increase any tuition at all, even a modest 1% with new challenges, fiscal challenges.
Based on
the governor's edict. So I just said, this is ridiculous. You're punishing a school that did the right thing.
Yeah.
So last year I tried unsuccessfully to change the language to give them a reprieve and to give them some direct assistance. Now, as you know, the governor this year eliminated Bundy Aid, which is public money for private colleges to deal with their tuition assistance type of concerns for scholarships. So this year we were successful in getting language to allow Utica College over the next several years, I think a 4-year period, to be able to go above and still receive the governor's money. Only private college in the state that can do that. So I think that was a big win for us.
Big. Yeah.
And we got them a one-time appropriation to help them offset. I had asked for $500,000. I think we're going to get in the category of about $300,000 to help them to put into scholarship programs to help their students. So it's a big win because Utica College was the only one across the entire state.
And received national headlines for this, for the fact that they lowered tuition. It's a big deal.
And again, that goes with trying to lead that charge with our seniority, where many other colleges, I had members come to me later and say, how did you get that done? That represent private colleges. It's because Utica College did the right thing.
Right.
And it helps when, like Brian said when he was walking in here, to have my back, to have Brian Miller and Anthony Brindisi and Mark Butler and Senator Seward even, everybody supporting us, together.
Well, the Mohawk Valley 9 that we put together, it's all part of it, and it's really working out really well as a region.
All right, gentlemen, any other takeaways from this? The fact that you've been able to take that huge deficit he was talking about, which was all buried in tax increases, that's where that all came from, to whittle that away, that's probably your biggest accomplishment of all.
Well, that's one of them. There's money in, like we've been talking about, money in for schools, infrastructure,
agriculture.
The agricultural budget got restored to a certain point.
Libraries.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things on the table.
Yeah.
I was in the senator's office off and on all night long trying to find out what's going on that side so we could make decisions over on the assembly.
We've been fed the pictures.
I was awake, though.
Anything else, Joe?
No, there's just a lot. It's a $168 billion budget. We'll be releasing more information over the next week on a number of district issues as well as the macro side of the budget. But overall, got done on time. It's balanced, and we did it without tax increases and staying within 2% spending cap. I think that's all important, too. And continued programs like Star Rebate, things like that, which the governor wanted to diminish at one time, but we fought to make sure that didn't happen.
This interview this hour, a lot about the budget, will all be available online. We put it up. Look for show notes at WIBX950.com. The title of this segment will be Cat Out of the Bag. Yeah. That's what we're going to call it.
We got big events coming up later in the week.
UFC this week, Joe, which you fought hard for and have accomplished. There's going to be a UFC event at the auditorium.
That will be
They're coming to town this week for a press conference.
Huge economic benefit to the area in June, so that would be great.
Nice job. Okay. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Brian Miller, Joe Griffo.